What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Crafty Couple here on Cockney Red 99. And today I'm joined by two of my new guests from the Energized show. It's Ross and Bazza. How are you boys getting on over in Dublin for yourselves?
Yeah, man. I'm living my best life here during lockdown. I've built myself a home gym. Oh, my God. He's on the Guinness for the Irish lads. Typical, isn't it? Basmo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I actually had a good day today, to be honest. Yeah, so I've been looking forward to doing this. So thanks, Mel, for having us on.
No bother, boys. No bother. Always a pleasure to have another couple of United boys. Add to the United family. Keep it growing. That's what we love to see. Big game this weekend. We're 3 points clear. I never thought I'd be saying that at this stage of the season. What are you boys feeling about that? That Burnley game was a bit of a hard-fought result, but to get the 3 points out of there was it was a relief, and it's amazing to be 3 points up, is it not? What are you reckoning, Braz?
The Burnley game, I felt like that was like a cup final for us. Like how many times last season did we have the chance to go into the top four, and then bottled it again and again and again and again and again, and then against Burnley, like looking at it on paper, you're like, that's 3 points. But then when we got the win, I felt like that lifted the whole entire club. Also, shout out to Wayne Rooney for officially retiring. Shout
out to Wazza, my favourite player as a kid growing up. Unbelievable guy as well. Lucky enough to meet him a couple of times. Top man. Ross,
did you?
Yeah, met him a couple of times in the Lowry Hotel. I managed to run into him when he was injured. And met him in Schalke with Johnny O'Shea when I was a kid as well. It was the happiest day of my life. And Ross, mate, how are you feeling after that win midweek? You must be buzzing as well, like the two of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I always found Burnley is a bit of a bogey side, especially in Turf Moor can be an especially bogey game. Our record against Burnley isn't actually the best, but it was great to get there and get the win. Look, everyone knows how Burnley are going to line up against it. You know what I mean? They're going to be big and physical at the back, and they're going to try and almost play like the Republic of Ireland do. You know what I mean? Hold off until late in the game, then try and sneak a win. So we managed to be able to break them down. It was great to see Pogba on the score sheet as well. And then sort of leading into this week's game, Liverpool could be 4th or 5th going into this game by the time all the games are played ahead of them. And that could definitely have a psychological knock-on effect.
I actually can't believe that.
That is, it's honestly, I was looking like behind because it's always, everyone talks about it as United 3 points ahead of Liverpool. No one's really that far behind Liverpool now at the moment. Like it's just, it's a really exciting title race. If the way it's going to go down to one, I don't think we can call anything a title race for another 10 games at least because of the way the season is. I mean, who knows? Our next, after Liverpool, we could have 3 games cancelled. The way it happens, it's happened this weekend already again with Villa. So you don't know. You really don't know the way it's going. This crazy COVID world that we all live in. But it's not all about United. The Premier League, has got other teams in it, and it starts on tomorrow with the Black Country Derby with Wolves against West Brom. West Brom obviously losing to Blackpool on penalties in the cup, and that's a big loss for Allardyce there. And I think I've seen it. It's they've got 1 win all year. And they're desperate for one, and it's a tough game. But Wolves also struggling for a bit of form at the moment. No win in their last 5. They actually sit 14th. So I mean, both sides desperate need of a win. I think Allardyce is going to try and play for a draw himself, but I don't know. Baz, what do you think, mate? Do you think it'll be an Allardyce masterclass, or is Nuno going to have one over on him?
I don't think Allardyce has the players to do a job now. He might be able to keep them up, and that's the goal. I think 17th, there'll be a parade around the Hawthorns. But Nuno's just doing great stuff with Wolves. Some of the players he has there are just top of the range, and when they knit it all together, it should be a handy 2-3-0 win.
2 or 3-0. I mean, you say that they are 14th for a reason. They're not. It's the same talk about a lot of teams that they are quite doing. Then you look at the table and they seem to be sliding down a bit. So but they should be able to do West Brom. To be fair, Ross, what are you thinking?
I think having Raul Jimenez out is definitely a big loss for them.
Yeah, that is true.
Geez, Barry, way to rob my point. When you have somebody who scored 17 goals, I think he scored 17 last year, for you. You know what I mean? And you have him out for majority of the season. You know what I mean? Like everyone talks about Van Dijk being out for Liverpool, but Jimenez being out for Wolves is just as much of a loss to a side like them. I know, like, you know, Pedro Neto has been doing a good job there. Ruben Neves has really stepped up the last few games. And just in terms of West Brom, I must say, I think actually them losing the cup is actually beneficial for their league run. I mean, they can concentrate everything on the league. And, you know, Big Sam is... He's a bit of a funny character because he's never been relegated, but I think this is the first time he will get relegated, as Barry alluded to earlier. That West Brom squad just isn't good enough to stay in the Premier League. Although, then again, I tipped Sheffield United to finish dead last year, and look where they finished, so you never know.
Yeah.
That is the thing, you never know. Poor old Sheffield United, we'll get on to them later. They did get their first win, but it seems like maybe they'll turn a corner because of the way the league is this year, but I can't see that happening. So what we got, I think we're all going to probably go for a Wolves victory there, I'd say.
Yeah, the thing is, how many accumulators have you done this year? Like they're just impossible to get correct.
I'm not too much of a betting man myself. I've got United to win the league. I've got that at 25-1.
I actually cashed out on United to win the league.
I didn't cash out. I'm waiting until after. Well, I was just sort of hopeful of this weekend, so I was just I'm hopeful that we're going to.
I don't want money, so I was like, I'll go for it.
Fair enough. We move on to the darlings of Sky Sports News. Leeds play Brighton at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I mean, you know, they went to Crawley. You know, they played the right way. They only just lost 3-0. You know, they played the right way. They attacked the ball. I mean, Mark Wright, he's a world class footballer, isn't he? He's just the epitome of a world class left back. Roberto Carlos, you know, he's got nothing on him. But obviously, you know, we could take the piss out of Leeds. They're our rivals or whatever, but they're massively inconsistent. They'll win 5-0 against West Brom and then get pumped 3-0 by Crawley. No one knows which Bielsa side will turn up, but Brighton as well have only got one win in their last 10. The last win was against Villa in November. They managed to beat Newport on penalties. Jason Steele coming out with some great saves. And I mean, Graham Potter gets a lot of praise as well for his style of play. I mean, it's the battle of the two managers who get a lot of praise for not a lot on the pitch, it seems, in terms of results anyway. Ross, are you thinking Leeds will get another result that they normally do, or are they going to lose 4-0?
This is a battle between football hipsters' favourite manager and Graham Potter, and this sort of whimsical magician that is Bielsa.
Third best manager in the world, apparently, Ross. Behind only a treble winner and the one who won the Premier League. That's what I'm told, anyway, by FIFA. But,
but sure, they know loads, don't they? I think I still think they pick like Marcelo as left back in their team of the year, and he's been muck all year anyway. So like,
Danny Alba's got it before, and he'd only played 15 games, mate. So they just don't even.
I suppose like Leeds, one bad result, one good result. I'm gonna have to say one good result. Let's be honest. I'm gonna say Leeds are gonna win this one 3-0. Why not? I think Brighton's biggest problem this year has been the year before their centre back partnership. I think with Dunk and either Webster or Duffy was a lot more solid, and now that they seem to have inconsistency in their centre half. I don't think they're as good at the back, and they leak a few more goals. And obviously, this new Graham Potter style of kind of play the ball out from the back isn't working as well. And I think they get caught by Leeds.
I mean, they're 17th now, I think. Oh, sorry, what were you saying there?
No, I was going to ask, like, I know Leeds are getting loads of write-ups and blah, 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 but who do you think their player of the year has been so far?
Probably Jack Harrison, I'd say.
Yeah, Harrison's been good.
Harrison's
been good as well. You have to give credit where credit's due, you know what I mean? He scored quite a lot of goals, considering I definitely didn't rate him going into the season. I thought like he was forever going to be a championship player, but
he was getting called up to the Ireland squad. That's when we knew he was going to be a championship player forever. That only seems to happen then, it seems.
Exactly.
Rubbing it in now, like, come on.
I'm not rubbing it in. I support Ireland, so it's not. It breaks my heart to see Patrick Bamford linked to it, and he doesn't give a rat's ass about it, to be honest.
He's holding out for 3 England caps against San Marino.
He's holding out for that friendly appearance like Nathan Redmond is. Still looking for that one. Baz, what are you thinking about this game then, mate?
The thing is, like, Brighton, I think they have a good side, and then staying up last year, like, I think that was a very good achievement for them. It was just some owners that just get too, like, they see the money and they're like, oh, can we get Zidane in? Does Fat Ronaldo want another season? You know what I mean? Like, the players that they have now, they're not really meshing, and it's not really working, and sometimes you can, like, being 15th for a team like Brighton for 5 years in a row is good. Sometimes if you get to like wherever they finished last season, it's like, right, we want to try and crack the top 10. I know in football you want to achieve more and more and more and more, but like, you can't all be top 10 teams, you know.
I mean, everyone wants to be top 10. I mean, we've seen it when the Venkis took over at Blackburn trying to sign Ronaldinho and everyone. I think you've seen it with managers. I mean, you've seen it when City obviously are a different animal. The amount of money that they have,
like,
and
Arsenal
what they were
in the top 10 as well.
Arsenal, they might squeeze in there. You never know. I mean, it was a good result for them last night with that, getting the 0-0 at home to Palace. I mean, it's a great result. But we can't take the piss, to be honest. Look, everyone has their downward times, and it's a downward time for them. We had ours under Moyes. I do not miss that at all in the slightest. It was one of the worst experiences of my life.
When was the worst moment for you when, like, since Ferguson left? What was the worst moment?
I think under that season at Moyes, I remember going up for the FA Cup game when we went out 2-1 to Swansea, and I just sort of like I was holding out a little bit of hope. I was like, maybe, do you know what? Maybe if we get it in the cup, we could win a cup. Do you know what? Like, we might do shit in the league, but we win a cup and then, progress next season. And then we got fucking swept aside 2-1 at home to Swansea. I was like, fuck, this is done. I was about 13 or 14 on the way home, coming back down on the M6. My old fella in the front of the car, absolutely bullying, like big Kerry heading him, ready to, tear the steering wheel off of the car. And there was it was just, that was when I realised that the Sir David Moyes dream was dead. But speaking of Sir David Moyes, we move on to his team, West Ham, who are actually doing all right. And I think this is his level. I think when people talk about him, this is his sort of level as a manager, in terms of a mid-table to sort of mid, 12th, 8th to 12th. That's his sort of level. I think I don't think that's disrespectful, to be honest. And they are at home to Burnley, and
I think that's right.
At 3 o'clock, and it's not terribly exciting, to be honest. All the football hipsters will be watching Leeds Brighton because they'll be excited about that one instead. And West Ham are doing all right, and Burnley in need of a win. Ross, who do you think's gonna get the one in this?
Am I saying the guy's name midfield right? Thomas Souček. Is that who you say?
Souček. Oh, yeah. What a man! Yeah, what a man for Fantasy Premier League.
He's the new Fellaini for David Moyes. Like, 100%. Lump it into the box. Hopefully he gets his head in it and he scores a winning goal. He's the new Fellaini for David Moyes. West Ham are such a funny team because they've had such flair at times. Like, obviously they have Felipe Anderson. He's gone off now. And they had Lanzini. Like, you really thought they were going to try and put a push on at some stage. But then next thing you know, they have Michaela Antonio up front, and then Souček, the big donkey in midfield who bullies people in the box. I think you're right. I think the best David Moyes will do is get West Ham into a position where Everton were sort of, hovering around 7 to 8 spot and, flirting with Europe and probably never actually getting there. And then in terms of Burnley, like Sean Dyche, what a man.
Brexit FC as we like to call it.
What's called, they are Brexit. And was it? Did they do the All Lives Matter banner? Was it Burnley?
I think it was a set of Burnley fans, because if I'm right in thinking that it was Ben Mead that had to come out and basically condemn them.
Yeah. I actually said this to Barry before, but like they have no black players on their team, Burnley, which I also find like a bit bad that they flew that banner over as well.
Do they? I'm thinking. I'm trying to think there. Yeah, no, I don't think they do have any black players.
They don't. So like,
they did have. They used to have Lennon there actually.
Yeah, they have a youth player. Do you have a youth player?
Dwight McNeil, I think, is sort of.
Yeah, I think Dwight McNeil could be half.
Yeah. Let's move on from that sketchy topic, shall we? In terms of Burnley, Brexit FC, Mr. Sean Dyche, who sounds like he smoked 40 fags a day since he was 15 years old. Baz, what do you think? Is Dyche going to pull off a 0-0 at the London Stadium, or is Moisey going to get Souček to get another late winner?
I thought you were actually going to ask me what do I think Sean Dyche's favourite brand of cigarettes is, but
probably Benson and Hedges, I'd say. B&H. I say he's a B&H Gold man. Is Dyche? He puffs away in the old B&H Gold like an old fella in the pub.
Yeah,
sat away in the sun, pint of Guinness, pack of B&H Gold on the table. That's the way.
4-4-2. But there's something about Souček, the way, like, for being such a like if it's such a weird comparison, and I tend to do a lot of these, but like if he was a Pokemon, he would remind me of like Alakazam, the way he's just so like, for Pokemon OGs, he's just so like, he looks real blocky and like basically flamey 2.0. I think like across into the box, the way West Ham like to do stuff, I think he could get in and cause a ruckus and definitely get a goal in there on the lads.
Yeah. On the boyos. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a narrow West Ham win myself as well.
Harry, but if Burnley go down, do you think they'll never come back up? Because I don't think they'll ever come back to go down.
That is a tough one in terms of how competitive the Championship is. I don't see them coming back up. So it's just one of them. I just couldn't see them coming back up. Like a Sunderland are still lingering in League One for themselves. I just wouldn't see Burnley come back up.
I couldn't see Burnley ever winning 5 games in a row, sort of thing. I just don't think it's possible for them. Mate,
I'd say you say that though, but I feel like Chris Wood would absolutely just like. I remember when he was at Leeds, he made the Championship his bitch. Like he could be a serious forward.
He scored against Ireland for New Zealand to make it 1-0. Ross, remember we were there in the Aviva Stadium? It was just like New Zealand are beating us in the football, right? I think we should go home, lads.
Yeah, but we're getting 3 points. So
he's all right though. I think Chris Wood's all right.
Chris Wood. When was that New Zealand again? That was a while ago.
Yeah, but it was. We were in the stadium.
Oh yeah, no.
I think it was like a Tuesday night. It was like a Tuesday or a Thursday. It was
anyway. Yeah, it was in between like one of the Nations League or something like that. I think was it?
It actually could have been Mick McCarthy's last ever game. Now that I think of it,
it probably was.
People in the chat, make sure you check that out for us. And hit the like and subscribe as well.
Yeah, Zeki's watching. Zeki, check that one out, please, lad.
Zeki, get on it, man.
Zeki will get on that. Moving on to the 5:30 kickoff, and it's a West London derby. It's a weird one with West London. Obviously, growing up here, I've known like Fulham fans, Chelsea fans, and Chelsea just don't have a rivalry with anyone in West London. It's all very one way. Like Fulham, Brentford, and QPR all hate them, but Chelsea they're too big for them. Essentially, they don't really care about them. But it's a big game for Fulham, and it's a big game for Frank Lampard as well. He needs a win. He's crying out for one. He got one against Morecambe. You know, Timo Werner got a goal from a couple of yards out for himself, but he's desperate for a win. And, you know, Fulham seem to maybe have turned a corner. Obviously, that great result at White Hart Lane, whatever they call it now, or whatever. And but they've got five draws out of the last few games in 5 draws and 1 win. Fulham, so there's not a lot of points coming for them. You know, they're getting points on the board, but not the wins. Ross, are you thinking Fulham could do Chelsea here? It is at Craven Cottage as well.
No, I feel like Fulham are sort of setting up as of late now not to lose, and I feel like they did with Liverpool and like they did. Who was the last game? They drew 1-1 against the Spurs there. Yeah, it was. Yeah. They're sort of setting up to not lose against the big boys. But I think you can only do that so many times without getting found out. And I think Chelsea will become very good. I don't know whether it will be under Frank Lampard or not, but I think their squad has too much talent, and they're all quite young as well. A lot of them are. So I think in time they will come on and be one of the better sides in the Premier League. I just don't think they're gelling just yet. And yes, Leo, glory, glory, Man United.
Glory, glory, Man United, indeed. I mean, you say that as well. To be fair, though, Fulham do have a lot of players on loan, like Loftus-Cheek and Lookman. So
yeah,
I feel that's always a bad thing. It was like when Watford first got taken over by the Italian owners, having a lot of players on loan, depending on players that aren't going to be in your squad for a very long time, is it's not the way. It's not the forward-thinking way, I think.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Beggars can't be choosers, indeed. But Baz, what are you thinking? Is Lampard going to get himself a much-needed win in the Premier League?
I think Lampard. It's a very tough situation for Lampard. Like, as much as he wants to use these shiny toys, aka Werner and Havertz, they're just not delivering for him. And he has like the Armani model, Mr. Giroud, sitting on the bench, who's probably their most informed.
Oh, he is a beautiful man, isn't he? He's just beautiful.
He's up there with the Graciano Pellas and the Wayne Rooneys. But I think Werner has a serious problem. He reminds me so much of Arshavin, the way he's so like he can be so direct and go by people, but also he can be like as if he's left-footed on both feet. His finishing is so bad that I don't know how he could eventually turn it around and become a great.
Yeah, I think so. Was it 2018? Was that Euros or World Cup?
World Cup,
wasn't it? I think me and Maz tipped Werner to be the top goal scorer in the World Cup, and then like Germany epically crashed out, and then just like ever since then, I've never had the faith in him that I did previously.
I mean, he is a good player, but I think Lampard. I think it's too many chefs in the kitchen. He's got a lot of players in and around the same position. It's a difficult one for him to figure out.
What would you say is Chelsea's best like attacking team, but like minus the goalkeeper and the defense? So like if you take it from the midfield, the three, and then the three, because like it's very curious.
Yeah, in terms of their midfield three, I know Mount gets a lot of stick in terms of being the teacher's pet and all that, but he is a very good player. I mean, you don't start that many games for Chelsea unless you're a good footballer. I would have Mount. I think Kante is having a bit of a demise, but I still think he can do a very capable job in that midfield. And then I'd probably have Kante, Kovacic, and Mason Mount as a three. And then your front three is just it's very sort of it's difficult to pick. I'd probably have if you can fit him in, I'd say probably Ziyech. Well, I'd say the ideal one is if it could work is Ziyech, Werner, and Pulisic. I think personally, but if Werner's not hitting the form, then you bring in either Olivier Giroud or Tammy Abraham, because Tammy Abraham was doing very well last season. So
he misses a lot of hitters as well.
He does, but to be honest, I don't really care about Chelsea. I'd like to see them have a demise and fall apart because a couple of years they've ruined my childhood. So fuck them, really, truly.
They were great. They were great on the Jose, weren't they? They were so good.
They were great. That was one of my first memories is when Joe Cole won the league against us. I remember being in the away end with my old man. I was absolutely heartbroken.
Bringing up the past, the good times.
It was, my first ever game was a 2-2 draw in the FA Cup replay against Chelsea. I remember Henningberg scored on the Henningberg. But like serious wealth of talent up front. In terms of Chelsea, Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Werner, Abraham, Giroud,
Hudson-Odoi, yeah,
as well. Like what I mean, like there's a lot of talent there for only so many positions.
Yeah, but exactly. You can only start 11 men. Like it's no, you can't do a Yaya Toure on Sky Sports and start 6 strikers in your in your starting 11. Like that was. Do you remember that? He did his all-time 11, and I think it was the most stupid thing I think I've ever seen. But I feel like Fulham are going to get a draw out of this anyway. Do you think? What are you boys thinking? Are Fulham going to get a draw here, or are Chelsea going to get a much-needed win?
Osmo, you go first there. or it could be frozen. So I'll go. I do think Chelsea will get the win. I think they'll probably win 2-1. I think they'll sneak it just about.
Sneaky. I think old Bazza is frozen. That Dublin Wi-Fi is not serving him too well.
He's a new location to where he normally is, so we'll continue on. He might jump out and jump back in, but me and you will hold the fort. We'll keep the show on the road.
We'll hold the fort down. A Kerry man and a Dublin man holding it down. We move on to the 8 o'clock. I'm going to go for a draw there. Oh, yeah, he's gone off. I'm going to go for a draw there myself. I think Fulham will get a draw out of this game. Leicester, Southampton. That is the 8 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Keeping us entertained late at night during this difficult time in lockdown. Sky Sports. It's on BT, actually, but fair play to them anyway. And Leicester are fourth in the table and actually 1 point behind Liverpool. Oh, yeah, Baz is back. Here he is.
Sorry about that.
No bother. But Leicester fourth in the table.
You were gone, man. We were slating you.
I know, I can tell, yeah.
Absolutely ripping pieces out of you. And yeah, that's as I was saying earlier. In terms of the teams are very breathing down Liverpool's necks. Leicester a point behind them, and Southampton as well, sort of in and out of form. They did beat Liverpool, obviously, as we all remember that, with Gary Neville watching Boris and the game at the same time, saying that Southampton had just scored. But that was their first win in 5 as well in the league. So they're a bit inconsistent this year, but they have looked better under Hassan Hootel. And it is at the King Power, and Leicester do play quite well at home. So who do you think is going to get the one here, Ross?
It depends on what side Southampton shows up, but as you say, as form goes at the moment, we haven't had the Southampton that we got for the first 10 games of the season. Harvey Barnes has really been doing very, very well this season. I think he's got more goals. If you take Jamie Vardy's penalties away, I think he's got more goals than Jamie Vardy this season. So I think those two, between Jamie Vardy and Harvey Barnes, they'll get the job done. I think it'll be tight though. Might get 2-1. Shout out to Shea Adams this year. He's been a real standout, and he's really picked up where Danny Ings and Theo Walcott have left off, and he's been banging in the goal. So he looks like he at the time maybe the signing wasn't going to work out, but he looks like a good signing for them.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said about Harvey Barnes there, I think he's a quality player. I mean, remember I was on the Adam show before and talking about how I thought he was their biggest threat when we played him. And I think Leicester are, they're just, in terms of, you've seen it last season with the way they demised, and, we obviously beat them at the King Power and managed to get into that 3rd spot and secure Champions League. A lot of good it did us as we got knocked out in the group, but it was a great day. What's the point in watching football if you don't celebrate the good times? But they are a good side, and Harvey Barnes, Maddison, likes to them. They're
as well.
Yuri Tielemans. That midfield is amazing, and Barry, what do you think? That are they going to turn? They're going to turn Southampton over, and you might see Southampton drop off now for the rest of the season, or Southampton going to get something out of this game?
I'd go 2-1 to Leicester just because they're at home. It's just some of the players they have when they're on form are great, and I think Brendan Rodgers is a great manager. I think like him having managed Liverpool before has put off the likes of, like, for instance, United or even Arsenal from taking him on, just because the fan base would be like, oh, he's like a Liverpool reject. But the way I think Sionchu's still out, but the 19-year-old Fofana has come in and done great things. And you were singing Harvey Barnes' praises. What age is he, by the way? And is he English?
He's about 20. He's English. He's 23.
Yeah, I have him on a fantasy football team. He's always picking up like an assist or a goal. I'll go 2-1, Jamie Vardy, and then Danny Ings to score as well. He's been sensational this year.
Yeah, no, the only reason I've known about it for a while is because a good mate of mine's a Leicester fan, and he's been singing his praises for 2 or 3 years now, and he's been saying that he's going to be amazing. So I've been sort of waiting for him to make the breakthrough, and he has looked amazing. And Danny Ings as well. Hopefully he makes a comeback. But you're saying about Rodgers, our greatest ever manager played for Liverpool and Man City. Well, not greatest ever, second greatest in Sir Matt Busby. So, rivalry is rivalry. If he could do a job for us, he could do a job for us. But Ollie's at the wheel, so we don't need to worry about that one.
Yeah,
Ollie's at the fucking wheel. We move on to Sunday, 2:00, and the Blades with my boy John Egan, who I love very dearly, and you know. Oh no, John Egan's a legend. Don't
it's just funny. Like not a mention of Enda Stevens or Dave McGoldrick.
But John Egan's from Kerry. That's why John Egan gets the extra love. No, Enda Stevens, love Enda Stevens. David McGoldrick, love him. Very surprised that he retired. That was a bit of a strange one, but still love the man. And they take on Jose's Spurs team, who did have that shocking result to Fulham and same sort of performance against Wolves when they drew 1-1. And
they hammered Marine.
Huh?
They hammered Marine.
Oh, they did beat a side with back gardens looking out on their pitch. Yes, they did. And what's his name? Carlos Vinicius managed to give a big celebration and do the Mbappe and all that. Yeah. Fair play to them for that, and they're into the 4th round. But they are only 3 points off Liverpool as well, so could potentially overtake them and put Liverpool in a lower position. And I know it sounds stupid, but I really think Sheffield United are going to get a draw here. I really think they are. Ross, are you in agreement with me, mate, or do you think Jose is going to absolutely tear him a new one?
Oh, it's so hard to tell because I think whether Tottenham win all depends on whether Son and Kane show up. Once they show up, it becomes very difficult for the other teams to cope with them, especially Son. I even still think he's still underrated. He's got such pace as well, and his finishing ability is top of the range. I feel like this season is bordering on a Mo Salah level of class, and he's top of the range. I feel Sheffield United have been super unlucky this year. I feel like they've had a lot of games where they've just about lost, or they've only lost by 1 goal. I feel like they haven't been put to the sword too often this season, which is one thing I will say for the Blades. But if you ask me who I think is going to win, I'm probably going to say Jose and the lads. I just think having players like Kane and Son on your team almost guarantees you a goal a game. And I look at Sheffield United, and I don't know where their goal is going to come from every time they play.
Bar John Egan.
Bar the Kerry Maldini that is Mr. John Egan. Bazza, is John Egan going to get a goal for me, and is he gonna silence Jose at Bramall Lane?
Could do from a corner. Yeah, that the only way I can see Sheffield United scoring is from a set piece. They just haven't got any pace. Pace kills, and when your front man is almost all over the pitch. Remember Wayne Rooney used to drop so deep for us and all. Now you can't compare McGoldrick and Rooney, but it's McGoldrick needs to not leave their box, and he needs to just get onto everything gets put in there. Almost like Cavani. If Cavani does the same as him, he should do well. But
if Cavani had McGoldrick's movement, I would be on the way to Euro 2021. I would not be watching England games instead, and listening to all my England supporting mates who are giving it large. But do you think, very typical as the little plastic paddy who actually hates England. But Baz, are Sheffield United? They're not going to get it, are they? Do you think? Or
they're just? I think half of them are probably been onto their agents, seeing if they can get out of the club now. Maybe, I can't see it. The last season, it was a lot of teams. Give us another team there that did really well in the first season, got relegated the next. Was Reading one? I think Reading
did that. No, they were just short of it. They were when they first came up with when they had Doyle, Kitson, Nolan
Stevens. Got the Europa League final and then got relegated in the same year.
Yeah, but they were in for a few.
They got relegated a few years after that.
Yeah, but I mean, what team came into the Premier League, did well for a season, next season got relegated?
I've lost it.
I think Reading did it.
Reading did it in sort of 07 sort of.
Yeah, that would be
They weren't too many of their quota for the 2 seasons in the first season.
Mm.
Well, that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens.
Right. Enough about the Blades and, you know, the man that made my life miserable for 2 years. And we move on to the biggest game of the weekend, Red Sunday, Red Monday, whatever Sky Sports want to call it, or, you know, every time the season they change it. But at Anfield, chance to go 6 points clear, 21 could be coming. How buzzing are we? We out of the last 11, we've won 9, drawn 2. The Scousers, no winning 3. They did manage to beat the Villa under 14 side. Fair play to them. I mean, you know, they all got picked up and dropped off by all of their parents as well, the poor lads. I mean, you know, but, you know, Jurgen Klopp, you know, Marcus Rashford feeds children. Jurgen Klopp destroys their dreams. And Barry, are we going to beat the Scousers?
I was just thinking about it last night, and this is a great opportunity for us. Like, United never do well at Anfield, really. Last time I really remember we did well was, I think it was Mata got a double when Di Maria played. The Liverpool rely a lot on the 12th man as well, like going into the cauldron that is Anfield.
That is the biggest myth I've ever honestly, that is the biggest myth, that atmosphere. I've been there 2 or 3 times. It's the biggest myth of all time.
When were you there last?
I was there. A mate of mine's a West Ham fan. He gave me a ticket at the away heads. So just before they won the league. It's the biggest myth of all time. They have 5 minutes before the start of the game and maybe the last 5 minutes of the game, which maybe it does help in that time period. In terms of their atmosphere, it's the most overrated thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Do you think so?
Sorry to cut you off there, Barry.
No. Well, looking at it from the outside, I think them singing that before a game, especially against a United team that still like haven't really proven anything. This is like a not having their fans there to try and rile us up is great. Like even the bus on the journey to Anfield, there won't be any like people banging on the buses, like putting people off their games. Like all the lads would be totally dialed in and focused. Coming off that win there to go top, I think like a lot of the players now are like, right, we are first now. United haven't even gotten out of second gear, really. I don't think. And like, imagine how far we could go now. Like, no Solskjaer, he'll sit them all down and he'll be like, lads, this is you'll probably get Ferguson in as well. You know, in the big games, he gets Ferguson, and he'd be like, here, look, you're at the top of the table now. You like, if you haven't believed, now you better believe. Like this is almost like a cup final for us. I know we have a cup game against Liverpool next week, but if United go out and win this weekend against Liverpool will I think a lot of Liverpool players will start looking over the shoulder more, like Mo Salah wanting to leave. And I think with someone like Pogba in the team on a high, he could bring this team to the 21st. But in fairness, there's so many more games to go. Like there's 21 games left. I mean, it's a sign.
It's a sign. 21 games left. 21. Oh, it's a sign. 2021. It's all coming together.
I know. But like, what happens next year when there's 22 games left and it's 2022? And you know what I mean? It's just it could be a sign. I don't know. It's hard to get carried away because like not too long ago we got knocked out of the Champions League and I was actually so heartbroken the way we went 3-0 down, then got back to 3-2 and it was like, go on lads, and then it was like, oh, you're still out. It's like, should have just lost 3-0, lads. Like, you know what I mean? Why'd you get me going? But I'm looking forward to this. And if Solskjaer picks the right team, I think that's the best thing to talk about right now is actually what is our best team to go into this game.
Yeah, predicted 11. What do you think? Yeah, what are you thinking, Barry, mate, in terms of your predicted 11? Obviously, Dave in net. I think that goes without saying. But
we'll go. We'll let Ross start because he's dying to go there. Like, you know, can't wait.
Fair play. Rossi, go for it, my man.
Yeah, let's be honest. You know what I mean? I think going into this game in the bookies, I think Liverpool will be the favourites. I think we're still the underdogs in terms of betting on the title. I think it's City are the favourites, then Liverpool, then us. So we're still the underdogs going into this game. And I think that suits United better. I don't think we are expected to come out with 3 points, but I think there's a very real chance we can go and get 3 points. Liverpool on a bit of dip in form. There's still a bit all over shop at the back, like who actually partners Fabinho.
What starting 11 are you going for, you mad thing?
I'm getting there. I'm just getting there.
No messing about. The Dubs, there's no patience. They don't like the backstory.
I literally put the ball on the
They're City boys. They like to get to the point. We need to move on.
I'll put the ball on the tee for you, and it was like, right, you go ahead. And you turn around. It's like, I'll tell you a story, lads.
Like an old fan in the pub. Well, I know this man from a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Gay in goal. It's going to be Wan-Bissaka right back. It's going to be Luke Shaw left back. It's going to be Eric Boye and Harry Maguire at centre half. And then in midfield, I think it's going to be Pogba and McTominay. And then the attacking players, I think, it's going to be Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, Bruno in the hole, and Cavani up top.
Ooh, Cavani up top. I think Cavani definitely needs to start. Barry, are you thinking the same lines as well as along the same lines as Ross as well, or maybe a few tweaks?
Well, like ideally, that would I'd agree with that team, because I think Cavani needs to start, because if you look at the game that we just got through against Burnley, if they want to win a game, and the way United were last season, is you go out and bully them. And the thing is, having men in the team, big men like McTominay, Pogba, Cavani, Eric Boye, like these guys are not getting bullied by people, and they get stuck in. So this time against Liverpool will have a fragile centre-back partnership, and they won't really be in tandem. So I think like having Cavani there with his wealth of experience, he'll be able to drive. Like both men will have to focus on him. If you started someone down the middle like Greenwood, he might get a bit bullied, and also he's not in great form. But in the midfield as well, I think that Martial might be out injured. I'm not 100% sure. So Pogba could potentially go on the left wing, and then they'll start McFred in midfield. I don't think he's going to go too gung-ho.
Guys, am I not mistaken, right? If Martial is out, they should switch Rashford to the left, which he normally plays anyway. But has Rashford not turned Trent in and out a few times in Liverpool games?
He did under Jose. He literally made Trent his bitch. That was. I think Trent as well, in terms of how he is as a footballer, he's amazing going forward. No one can question that. His delivery is unbelievable. The amount of assists he gets, he's got a great whip on him for a free kick. But in terms of as a defender, I think when you're playing alongside someone as class as Virgil van Dijk as a fullback, a lot of it does get made up for. And I feel like he's not a great defender, and he is still very young, and he may be able to improve on that. But I feel like that's why they've missed Van Dijk more than most teams would miss a centre back, because he covers so much for the rest of that team that I think that's why they're missing him as much, because you've seen Trent getting slung off against Southampton as well. So it is a tough one for them, and I think Rashford could do a job on him on the. Do
you think they'll try Dan James just because Robertson and Trent like to go forward? That like Rashford will definitely do a cover for the team, but Pogba mightn't, so he might start Dan James. Do you think that might happen? Because if all he does stuff like that, like you're like, oh, you never know what the starting lineup is going to be. You couldn't even bet on the starting lineup; you'd still get it wrong. You'd put he'd bring back Phil Jones for his what's it called, the 10 years testimonial against Liverpool. Yeah.
But what about starting Juan Mata outright? I know it's a bit slower, but like he has been proven effective against Liverpool before.
Yeah, I see the point you're making in terms of he's been proven effective against Liverpool before, but that was now 4 or 5 years ago, and I feel like he's not always relied on pace. He's not always been the quickest player. He's quick over sort of 10 yards. He's not a long sprinter, but he's I don't know, in terms of Robertson. I think just on the right against Robertson, I think is probably, I'd say, along with Alphonso Davies, probably the best fullback in the world. I think he's absolutely unbelievable. So I think starting Mata on the right would probably be. I can't see it, to be fair.
But if you do say Robertson's the best left back in the world, right? Mata's not going to actually try and beat him, so you actually might be better off trying to do something different and almost have him playing as another inside forward almost.
Yeah, I see the point. I mean, it's a nice problem to have in terms of we have players that can come in and can maybe make a difference. The one player we haven't all talked about, no one's talked about, is poor old Donny van der Beek. Is there? I can't see it, especially after the way Pogba played against Burnley. There's no way he's getting a start, is he, the poor fella?
Donny's in a tough situation. Like, he was basically brought in to replace Pogba, and then Pogba didn't go, and then Pogba's now probably our best player at the moment in the last month. I know. Bruno just won his 4th Player of the Year award in a year, setting a record. Player of the month. Sorry, Player of the month.
Player of the year, 4 Players of the Year in the 1 year.
Simply Player of the Year, but
what year?
Sorry, Player of the month. But the thing is, the way Donny actually plays and he can control a game is something that United are definitely lacking in midfield. They can't contain the ball and bring it up as a unit. Like the faction of Bruno, Pogba, and Matic, it doesn't really gel that well. Like, if you play FIFA and you see the green lines, there'd be like a couple of, like, it'd probably be a bit orange between all three, you know, especially with the pace of Matic. He's not fast enough. But Van der Beek would fit in, would actually be a better fit with Bruno and Matic than I think Pogba will be. But
yeah,
but Paul Pogba, you know.
I do think he's so far down the pecking list, really. I think, like, if you were to say, if we were in agreement that it was Pogba, McTominay, and Bruno was starting 11, I think, like, the next person in, if you were to take McTominay out, would probably be Fred, and then the next person will probably be Matic, and then it would probably be Donny van de Beek. I just think he's that far down the pecking list. I don't think it's his fault. I just think for this game, it is so crucial that we put out our strongest, most gel team, and I just think he's not quite in there. Yeah, is there opportunity for him to play his way into the team in the future? Yeah, but this probably isn't the game for him to come into.
He's almost on the same boat as Romero, isn't he? The way, like, Romero's a top goalkeeper, but, like, he has Henderson in front of him and De Gea in front of him, and there's only one real spot.
He's not in the same boat as poor old Romero. Poor old Romero.
At least he has the squad number, and Romero doesn't.
I think Romero is probably in Buenos Aires having a bottle of Quilmes for himself. He's probably kicking back. Him and Rojo. Rojo. Did he even come back? I don't think he ever came back. I think.
I think he was in the squad training. Yeah.
No, he is in Argentina. That was Ollie did say that, and then.
Did he go back away? I'm not sure. Imagine how badass, you know, the centre-back partnership would be of Rojo and Bailey. They'd be taking people's heads off every game, like getting sent off.
I feel like I've seen it a couple of times, and it was whenever I've seen Rojo play, I'm just like, because it was good for points, and then other times you just like your heart's in your mouth because you think he's going to get sent off and break someone's leg. Yeah, you never want to see a player's leg getting broke. To be honest,
no, definitely not.
But boys, Amy here has come out with the 2-1 United win. Bruno injury time penalty winner. I mean, I think we would all love nothing more than to see that. I think that would be, the piss that would be boiled would be absolutely spectacular to see. And Bruno in the 94th minute at Anfield in front of an empty Kop. Jurgen Klopp goes into his interview, starts complaining and crying. I think we'd all love to see it. Will we see it, Ross? What are you thinking for the predicted scoreline?
I actually think the only thing better than 2-1 would be 1-0 with a 94-minute penalty. But
penalty retake as well. Like Alisson stepped off the line, they bring it back, and then Bruno buries it.
Would you a penalty?
I am actually going to say 2-1 to Man United. I just think in terms of actual Liverpool's team, like Salah's always been quite quiet against United. I think he scored in the last Premier League game, but I think statistically his numbers are quite poor. I remember Ashley Young even put him in his pocket won the games. So I just don't think they're firing on all cylinders at the moment. I think United have found this new ability to grind games out and get the win, and I think they're going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to say 2-1. And you're right, there's Amy there. Penalty after the final whistle. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Like the Brighton game.
Yeah, like the Brighton game.
I remember that Brighton game. I was actually at my mate's house in uni in Loughborough, and I when they equalised, I thought it was all over. So I just pissed off. Like I went outside. I was just in a bad temper. And then everyone called me back in. I couldn't believe that after the final whistle had gone, like that was unbelievable.
If that was United, they should like ran off the pitch. I mean, like it's over. But like they also come around to find out what was going on, and then They found
That
out
was-
what was going on.
That was why it was technically still allowed. I think that was the reason that the FA were given, and the referee and whatever association they're called. Barry, are you thinking along the same lines as Amy here, that we're going to get an after the whistle penalty and beat these lot in their own backyard for the first time in, I think it's nearly 3 years now, or 4 years? I think is it?
I was thinking more of a draw because we were away, but because of where United are sort of sitting now and the way Liverpool, like Klopp looks a bit rattled. Like he's going on and on about us with the penalties, and then it's supposedly they're worse than we are, like something like that. So, like it's almost like the modern day Kevin Keegan sort of rant. But
it's like Rafa when he was cracking up, mate. Jurgen's cracking up. That's what's happening now.
Yeah, because they can't. Like Mourinho's gone from United, so you can't be like they're the bad boys, because now Rashford, he could be a future king of England, Rashford, the way things are going on. So they have to stick with him. They have to bring people back down a peg as well. So they're taking down Klopp. So like, if the thing is United, you never know what United are going to show up, and then someone needs to be on song, and like it's almost fitting that Bruno will get a penalty and score it. And I think we will concede, because we nearly always concede, and Liverpool are a very good side. But I'm not going to sit here and sit in the fence. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I'm going to agree with Ross and Amy.
2-1 as well.
Yeah, why not, lads? Like, I'm not watching for a 0-0 draw.
I'm always the optimist. So I'm not going to go with any sort of fucking pessimism here. I'm going to say 1-0 though. I'm going to say we're going to get a clean sheet at Anfield as well. Sod them bastards getting a goal. 1-0. 1-0. I'm not going to say a Bruno penalty. I'm going to say a Cavani header around the 75th minute. All of our bums will be flapping for about 15 minutes.
What would Graham Souness say if Pogba got the winner again?
He'd probably call him a virus. I mean, definitely. It's a bit of an old man hatred of a young black player. Let's be honest.
Souness would do him in a match.
Bit suspect. I'd say about why Souness doesn't like Paul Pogba. We obviously don't want to make any allegations, but it's a little bit suspect, I would say.
Do you know what? I'm also really looking forward to like if United win, hopefully they do, touch wood, but like the afters of like all the videos that are going to go out after talking about the games. Like that's what I love so much about football. The build up to the games, then watching the game. If you win, you get to watch all the content of people like celebrating and what's next and all this sort of stuff. I mean, and also my mental health is way better when United are doing well compared to when we're getting knocked out of the Champions League.
Yeah, I feel like every United fan around the world can agree with that one in terms of the mental health aspect. I mean, the talk of the
roller coaster, it's ridiculous, man.
The talk of the break, sort of going on. I think a lot of people were massively against that, because, in all fairness, it is our only release. Obviously, the whole of the UK and Ireland is currently in lockdown, and I mean, obviously, it's not the case because not everyone's a football fan, but majority of people are, really and truly, and it's something to watch, and it's something entertaining, and for a lot of people like myself and yourselves, it's our love, it's our passion, and it brings us joy to see our team winning. And
if you're a Towie fan, you can check out Crawley.
And if you are a Towie fan, you can look at the beautiful man that is Mark Wright playing fullback for the mighty Crawley Town, who are also called the Red Devils as well. So could be a second team for a few United fans out there. But the conclusion from that, lads, is that is 21 coming?
Yeah, I really do think this year stronger than any other year since Ferguson's left that we have a chance to win the league, if I'm honest about it.
I think this year is our best year, because if we don't, certain players will get up and leave. I think looking at Pogba now, I think I've been so up now with Pogba, but if we don't win the league this year, I think this is his last year as well. So, and we won't be better next year if he leaves, unfortunately.
So you've heard it. 21's coming if we beat the Scousers this weekend.
Yeah.
We're not saying it full stop, but I think if we get a win at Anfield this weekend, I can say that we can all start to be getting a little bit more giddier than ourselves than we are now.
And we'll call him sick to work on Monday.
Calling in sick to work on Monday. We'll all
on
be
Tuesday.
Dying. We'll all be dying. We'll all be dying from dodgy cans of Guinness with a little widget in it, and yeah, we'll all be loving life. And then we move on to the 7:15 game, which I mean, if we do win, who really gives a shit about City Palace? I mean, who knows? Palace, got a draw against their relegation rivals Arsenal last night, and it's they have got a decent record at the Etihad. Do you remember? I remember when Andros Townsend scored that absolute screamer there a couple of years.
Was that goal of the season?
I think it was actually. Yeah,
it should have been. Yeah, cracker. Yeah.
Let's be honest though. Palace, they've already been spanked 7-0 by Liverpool this season, and getting a draw against Arsenal is nothing to write at home about this season either. I think young Phil Foden is definitely the one to watch out for. He's really, really come on this season, and I can see City winning at least 3-0.
3-0 from big man Ross. Bazza, what are you thinking? Are they gonna maybe they could get another draw? I'm quite hopeful that they can get another draw and peg City back a little bit and give us a helping hand in trying to get 21.
I'd like to think so, but I can't really see it happening. I'm not too confident in Crystal Palace, and from watching Man City against us, the way they've sorted out that defence, it just looks like as solid a defence in the league as anyone, if not the best, bar Van Dijk for Liverpool.
But Van Dijk, fair enough. I mean, Ruben Diaz has looked amazing since he came in.
Imagine him and Van Dijk as centre-back partnership. That's up there with Vidic and Ferdinand.
If you were a striker, you wouldn't even bother, would you? No. If you were like a mid-table sort of a striker and you're like, who am I playing against this week? Diaz and Van Dijk. Sorry, mate. I'm ill. But I mean, City are unbeaten.
Also, if you're looking at the English team now as well, like who do you think will progress more playing for England? Do you think it would be like Jack Grealish, or do you think it would be Phil Foden?
I honestly, like when I said that, I don't care or watch England. I only watch England games for a piss up, but I rate Grealish better as a player.
Where do you think he could end up next year?
Grealish probably should be starting, but I honestly, like it's just with my parents. I just never really given a shit about England. It's a good excuse for a piss up and stuff, but in terms of the England team, I'm not really that bothered.
Ross, what about you? Who do you think has a higher ceiling, Foden or Grealish?
Oh Jesus, both are incredibly high. If I had to guess, I think Grealish can probably be top of the pop standards. I think Foden, like he's still a boy almost in terms of like his stature and his physique. I think he really needs to start hitting the gym a bit more. But I do think Grealish has that touch of class about him, despite the fact he left Ireland.
But Grealish didn't make a senior appearance, unlike someone who shall not be named, Pecklin Pice or whatever the fuck his name is, dickhead. But we move on from the traitors, and we talk about the Monday night game, and we look at Arsenal versus Newcastle. Arsenal, they got that edged out of that 0-0 draw at home to Palace. Looks like they might be safe now from relegation, getting closer to that 40-point mark. And Newcastle are the first team to lose to Sheffield United. And that's never, when you're the first team to lose, I think they were actually the Newcastle were in Derby as well, who are the worst Premier League team on records. I think it was 11 points they got in the end of the season. They also lost to Newcastle, actually lost to Derby as well that season. It was Kevin Phillips that scored, I remember. And they've got no win in the last 5 now. And Cabbagehead, as he's called unfairly by the Newcastle fans, Steve Bruce, they haven't got a lot of patience for the man. But will he get a result at the Emirates? I mean, he held them to 0-0 for 90 minutes in the Cup. Can he do it again? What do you think, Ross?
Well, I do think they're slightly unfair at some points because their midfield is so bad, the Newcastle midfield. Like, the long staffs, I know they did the job against United once or twice, but like they're not that good. Hayden's not that good. Hendrick's not that good. And when your midfield is so mediocre, it's hard to really be competitive. And then in terms of Arsenal, on the other hand, things like I feel like they have 4 or 5 young players who are really coming through this season, like Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe. These guys look really, really good, and they're on the rise and they're hungry. If they can start to get something to gel together, I do think that Arsenal team will come good, especially under the tutelage of people like Aubameyang and Lacazette. So I think Arsenal will win. But I know Steve Bruce, former Manchester United legend, used to always get his name on the team sheet. I'll probably be cheering for Newcastle, and it'd be nice to see Jeff Hendrick get a run out if possible as well.
Jeff Hendrick was linked to live with Man United and AC Milan in the summer, so it must have been a shot to the system when he ended up in the northeast, the poor lad. But still a good move for him, and I hope he does quite well there. Yeah, Barry, what are you thinking? Are Arsenal gonna escape relegation? Get further away from that drop zone with another 3 points?
Yeah, I think it was only a matter of time till Arteta started taking some of the big names out of the team and gave the young lads a bit of just let them go and have a game. Like Smith Rowe has impressed me the most. I know Saka's been getting headlines, but what Arsenal really needed was someone who really wanted to wear the shirt and would put in a shift and do it for not only himself but the team and his family almost. And when you have big players who are at the end of the tail end of their careers, like people like Willian, and they're not really going to track back, it's good to have a young up and coming players that are hungry and want to make this their profession, and they don't want to end up in the Championship or lower.
Yeah, I mean, you see it a lot when teams do play the youngsters. They're hungry and they've got nothing to lose. You know, so they're always going to go for it. So Smith Rowe as well has come on leaps and bounds. He had that loan spell at Leipzig as well. So Arsenal do have a lot of promise in the future, but I just think this season for them, I think probably 8th is probably a good finish for them this year.
I can't picture much more than 8th.
For them anyway.
8th would probably be a good finish for us. So I'd say I'm actually going to say a draw all around for that game. Are you the two of you going for an Arsenal win, or?
I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal.
I'll go with draw as well. But like, as much as like we're having a bit of banter here, like I hopefully it's great now that for the first time in a long, long time, United and Liverpool are both at the top of the league, and they're both good. Whereas like United have been good and Liverpool have been crap, and then vice versa, obviously. So like it'd be great to bring Arsenal back up to some stage, and we'd be all competing at the highest level. You know, because it's like everyone was sort of happy Leeds came back into the league just to have another derby. So like hopefully Arsenal can fix things up over the next couple of years and get back up there. Not better than United now, but like back up and challenging and pushing teams to break the 100-point barrier.
Yeah, that is definitely the way. And hopefully now we see a good weekend of splendid football, and United go to Anfield and get us a win. And I think it's the first.
Be honest, all that matters is the game on Sunday. Like I don't care if the rest of the football is shit, as long as United win, and I don't even care if they win ugly.
I thought you were asking on as well. I thought we were just going to be talking about United and Liverpool.
No, I like to just have a look around the rest of the fixtures as well. It's not good to ignore the rest of the Premier League. So have a look at the rest of it.
Boy, how irrelevant they may be.
However irrelevant it may be, it's quite fun to take the piss out of some shit teams as well. So, but I always like to ask it on a random end on a random question at the end. And as I'm joined by two Jackies themselves, and I do love a weekend in Dublin, whether it's for the All Ireland, for a Kerry game, or just for a piss up. What is your favourite pub in Dublin? Whether it be in the city centre or around wherever you may be from. Mine would be Devitt's on Camden Street. That is a favourite of mine whenever I've visited. So from yourselves, lads, Ross, you fire away first.
Well, I do like O'Donoghue's for sort of like an old school point vibe, but I like the Gasworks for the games just because it's close to the Aviva Stadium, but it's not too close. Apologies if you hear any scream in the background. My son just arrived home from his granny and granddad, so he's causing a bit of carnage. The missus is keeping him out of the room.
Fair play, fair.
I'd agree with Ross. Like if you go to O'Donoghue's, that's a great spot for a Guinness. Like that's brilliant. And then there's a huge big sports bar that's opened up recently on Camden Street where it used to be the Palace. I think it's called.
Oh, is that the one that's like quite long, sort of?
Yeah, it used to be a few years ago. Ross, what's it called?
Which one? Say again.
Also the Camden one.
Oh,
We
the
went for the
Camden,
Ireland lost. We drew with Denmark.
oh, the Camden Exchange, is that?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I think
That's what
now
it
it's just called the Camden.
Yeah, I think because we could. I remember because I was there and it was before I was 21, so they wouldn't let us into that. I was there November 2019. It was before I was 21, so they wouldn't let us in because in Dublin they like to do the old 21 rule. So that was
It used
quite
to be
sad.
called the Palace, was it? Back
Yeah,
in
it
the
used to
day,
be called a pass. Yeah, also Malahide gave me some cool crack as well. It depends what you want. Like, do you want? It depends if you want like a vodka or you want the Guinness or you want a Heineken or like if you want the football or if you want the
depends on who you're
rugby.
meeting as well.
Yeah, or
I
if you
mean,
want whatever it is.
lads, I feel like we need to do a podcast about just pubs in general. I think that needs to be
Yeah, sure.
that needs to be one in the future, definitely. I mean, we've all forgotten the one magical place that Dublin is famed for throughout, mainly through Ireland, which is the beautiful place on Harcourt Street, which is Copperface Jack's. I think we're all for. Obviously, it's not a pub. It's not a pub, but it is a magnificent place to go, especially after a GAA match.
Yeah, and who knows if that'll even still be open after all this.
Oh, you can't lose Coppers. You can't lose. That's an Irish institution. That is.
Oh, it is. But look, I really enjoyed coming on. We'll have to do it again, but I am gonna have to lay it because that's one of mine. He's only 1.5, so when he wants me, and it's either that or ruin the call. So I'm gonna have to bounce. But it was an absolute pleasure, and we'll definitely do it again.
Talk to you later, Ross, mate.
Yeah, Ross.
That's it. Well, I'm sort of just finishing up there anyway, but Ross has daddy duty, so that is the way it goes. Barry, mate, if you want to give a shout out to your socials so the people can know where to catch you.
Yeah, myself and Ross do a weekly podcast, mainly on MMA and boxing, especially like UFC or Bellator. If you want to check out Energized Show, I'll comment in the comment section of this video as well, saying thanks a million for having us on. Because we've had football guests on before, we've had rugby people on as well. It's just a great thing to do every week, as you know yourself.
Yeah, just nice to chat to like-minded people who love a bit of sport and a couple of beers. Yeah, that is the way. That's the whole point of it. The crafty couple. You sneak away for a few pints just after work and have a chat with your mate about what's going on the weekend. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Love it, loving the support, loving the likes. Please keep sharing it. Please keep subscribing. Hopefully, want to try. I mean, it's a bit of a bold aim. I'm only at 100 and something, but I'd like to get to 1,000 before the end of the year.
Yeah,
so
we just went over 1,000 there. It's just all about fun. Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe, everyone, because you're just helping people out here.
Help people out, having the crack, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. Please keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks for watching.